Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're talking about a flaw so simple it's almost hard to believe. A tiny mistake in code that can throw the doors wide open to your most sensitive data.
So let me just ask you this straight up. Does this sound possible? I mean, come on. Could cybersecurity for something as important as a bank really be that simple? Well, the scary answer is absolutely. And it happens a lot more than you think.
Okay, so to really get how this is possible, we need to know what we're looking for. The vulnerability has a name, and in the security world, it's called an insecure direct object reference, or much easier to say, an IDOR.
So what is it really? Well, in plain English, it's when an app or a website just trusts you too much. It lets you ask for something, say by its ID number, and just hands it over without ever stopping to check if you're actually allowed to have it. It's kind of like walking into a bank vault and asking for the contents of safe deposit box number 101, and the teller just gives it to you, no questions asked.
And this all boils down to a really important mix-up between two security ideas. First, you've got authentication. That's just proving who you are, right? That's your username and password. But then there's authorization. That's about what you're allowed to do once you're inside. An IDOR happens when the system authenticates you. It knows who you are, but then it completely drops the ball on checking your authorization.
So, how do bug hunters or, malicious attackers actually find these unlocked doors? Well, it's not just luck, it's a method. So let's put on our hacker hat for a minute and see how the hunt really works.
The playbook is actually pretty straightforward. You start by just using an app normally, like maybe you click to see your own account profile. But in the background, you intercept the request your computer sends to the server. And here's the magic trick, right there in step 4. You just change your user ID, say from 123 to 124, and send the request again. If the server sends back user 124's profile, bingo, you've found an IDOR.
Now, they aren't just doing this with their web browser. Researchers have a whole toolkit to peek under the hood. A tool like Burp Suite is the big one. It acts like a middleman, catching and letting you mess with all the data flying between your device and the server. And for mobile apps, you've got things like MobS that can literally take the app apart to find weak spots.
All right, so theory is one thing, but this stuff gets really serious when you see it happen in the real world. So let's check out a case study that came from a bug bounty report, and this one involved a mobile banking app.
So, a security researcher was poking around this banking app. They noticed that every time they looked at their own transaction history, the app made a call to a very specific web address, an API endpoint. And see that number at the end? That's the unique ID for that one specific transaction.
And this is where it all went wrong. The researcher just changed that ID number, even by just one single digit. And what happened? The server just gave them the data. It didn't stop, it didn't ask, hey, wait a minute, are you allowed to see this? It just sent back someone else's private financial data. That one critical check was completely missing.
This whole case is a perfect snapshot. You can see it all right here. The vulnerability type, where it was found in the mobile API, the tools they used to find it, and most importantly, how they fixed it. The company jumped on it, and that quick fix probably saved them from a massive data breach.
And for finding this one flaw, the company paid the researcher a $3,500 bounty. Now that's not just a thank you, that's a pretty clear signal of just how bad this could have been if the wrong person had found it first.
Okay, so finding the problem is half the battle, but fixing it is everything. And the good news is, these are not impossible problems to solve, they are totally preventable. So now let's switch gears and look at it from a developer's perspective. How do you stop this from ever happening?
The number one rule to fix IDOR is simple. Never, ever trust what the user sends you. And that means putting two really important defenses in place. First, you have to build strict access controls on the server for every single request. And second, you got to stop using simple, guessable numbers for IDs. You need to switch to something an attacker could never predict. And here's what that looks like in practice. See the difference? On the left, you've got a simple, sequential number an attacker can just guess by adding 1. On the right, you have what's called a UUID. It's so long and random that the odds of an attacker guessing another valid one are basically 0. Their job just got a whole lot harder.
So, after all this technical talk, why should you actually care about something like IDOR? Well, because it's not really about code in the end. It's about your data, your privacy, your security.
When you get right down to it, it is a fundamental breakdown. It means that even if you have a super strong password and two-factor authentication, a flaw like this can make all of that totally useless. It's like locking your front door, but leaving the back door wide open for anyone who knows to check the knob. And the damage can be massive. Not all IDORs are created equal, right? A bug that leaks your credit card details, that's a P1, a critical emergency. But even one that just exposes your home address or your purchase history is a really serious violation of your privacy.
And don't make the mistake of thinking this is some old, forgotten issue. With all of our apps and services relying on APIs now, just like that banking app, these basic authorization mistakes are still one of the biggest threats out there today.
So that's the question we're left with, isn't it? The difference between being secure and just feeling secure can be as simple as checking not just who you are, but making sure you have the right key for the exact room you're trying to enter. Thanks for joining us.